Ready, set, and go.
Yay!
Magic time, people.
Podcast time. Yay.
So today on the show, it's longer than yesterday. I don't know why.
Is it, we'll find out. Longer good or longer? Sometimes when we're tired, we just talk longer.
Well, I believe...
it might be a healthy bit of both.
I believe I've told you that sometimes we lower the bar.
Wait till you see what tomorrow will bring.
I don't know. So here's what I got for you. We talk Easter Peeps, how not to cure the coronavirus in Florida.
Well, no, anywhere. But
okay,
this is
that's
coming
fair.
out of
it's
Florida.
Coming from Florida, but this is not good for anybody. Air travel in the U.S., enormous blankets. Nikki finally puts her finger on exactly what we're all going through.
At least how we're feeling. I don't know about you guys, but where we're in the studio currently feeling at, it feels like something else. We're familiar with it.
Alexa's listening to you again. Source codes, David Harbour's, Call of Duties should keep you busy.
It should be a podcast.
Yeah, so you guys enjoy today. Nikki and I will also be setting about seizing the day.
Don't forget, you can text us even, if you just want to say hello, or maybe if you have a story you want us to cover in the podcast. If you text us at 877-2-RadioU, include your name and that you're a podcast listener, and then we'll say hello back when we're in the studio next time.
All right.
Have a wonderful day. Listen, it's a good day. Come on.
Come on.
Come on, everybody.
Come on.
So tired.
Come on.
We can do this.
Come on. Yeah, come on. How we doing?
Everybody around us is looking at you like, why were we clapping?
You know what? I don't care.
You don't care because we're going to have a great day and an even better tomorrow.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
I can't begin to tell you how excited I am about this. Okeechobee, Florida.
Yeah.
All right. A county commissioner there named Bryant Culpepper went on the record in an emergency session on Friday in which he explained that you could kill the coronavirus by just turning on your hair blow dryer and just breathing in all the hot air.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He says the virus just falls apart and disintegrates.
Really?
Here, I have a quote here directly. It says, so you hold in a blow dryer in front of your face and you inhale with your nose and it kills all the viruses in your nose. That sounds like a simplified way of doing things, but sometimes the cures for some of the diseases are very simple.
I don't think we should be saying that. I don't think he's right.
Oh, I love it.
And so what was he again?
He's a county commissioner.
Oh, that's even worse.
And what I love is that he had to make a public apology.
Well, right.
Like, hey, everybody. I just wanted to let you know that I'm really sorry about what I said about the coronavirus. You can't kill it by breathing in your hairdryer.
You know what, though? He probably wasn't the only one. I mean, he must have gotten this from someone else. So is this a thing that people think?
That's why I feel like maybe it's worth talking about. That and the fact that I just want video of all you guys like,
No.
I'm talking into my hairdryer.
No.
What are you doing?
It's like you don't want to come in and see your parents or your grandparents doing that. Not that I feel like an older person would fall for that, but I'm just saying.
It's one of those things where it's the perfect storm of it has just enough
believability,
maybe, where you're like, right, because when things are too hot, things can't live.
Well,
my hairdryer is really hot.
I've heard a lot of people say you should be having warm stuff. I have heard that.
I keep seeing that too. That's not real.
You should be not that you should be taking your hairdryer to do this.
There's too much nonsense on the internet. It's just nonsense. And with respect, I'm amazed with some of the things that some of you guys have sent me where I'm just like, hey, this is not real.
Well, I mean, they're just checking it out with us, maybe. They're running it by us first.
So that and some of the conversations I've had. Now, admittedly, maybe I'm an exception. Normally, I'm not a press conference guy, but I felt like this has been important enough that I have really been paying attention. So that when I come in here, I don't say something too stupid like, hey, everybody, get your hairdryer out.
Get your hairdryer out. I heard this thing, and I think it might work.
And so I've been paying a little more attention than maybe I usually would to things like that.
We want to get the details right.
I'm amazed at just how uninformed most of us are when it comes to this. They're like, oh, yeah.
Well,
you do the hairdryer, and then what you do is have you ever seen those dust cleaners? You just shove those up your nose and you squeeze the trigger. Now it hurts a little bit.
I think this is not just with this virus, but we all act that way about a lot of stuff, which is why we have problems sometimes.
You know what? Completely fair.
But no judgment here. We're just letting everybody know
in
case you're like, I got it, and you're using the hairdryer. That's not going to work.
At least, okay, how about this? Like when you hear something like breathing in your hairdryer, let's at least... I would say Google it, but that's just going back to the people that don't know.
No, I'm sure there's a world online where this is what you should be doing.
I would never get a vaccine, but I do breathe in my hairdryer every day. Okay.
Maybe the riot would sound better if they spent less time improving their lives at their gym. That was sarcasm. It's the riot on Radio U.
Nikki and I continue on this, we're locked in. We haven't left this room in 18 days.
No, because people will get worried if you say that.
It's not true.
We are allowed to come into the studio to come into work. We are what counts as essential personnel.
So essential.
So important, right?
Oh, man.
And then we go home and isolate after that. So you just don't go anywhere outside of that.
I feel great about it.
Well, it's been working well.
Yep, it has. I feel good.
As far as we know, it's all good.
I'll tell you what I'm getting worried about, though.
What?
Peeps.
Yeah, did you see?
That's why I'm worried.
Well, you don't like him anyways, though.
Actually, I don't like Peeps at all.
I don't know many people who do. In fact, I think I only know one person who likes them.
There has to be an army of people out there that like Peeps, or they're so cheap and the margin is so large.
I just think it's an Easter thing people buy around this time for like
decorations.
Decoration. Yeah, like
okay.
It's holiday decor.
I'll tell you right now, I can buy into that. I can't buy into an army of people that are like, these are good.
These are delicious.
I love Peeps.
So the Pennsylvania company who manufactures Peeps and other delights, I guess we could say,
if that's what you call them,
had sent out a statement saying that they have halted their production at least until April 7th because they're cleaning and sanitizing the facilities, offices, and corporate headquarters. All employees are going to be paid during that time, but it has been shut down. So they're not sure that Peeps will be out in time, or will they even send them out in time for Easter?
All right. Chad says we have two people that like them. He must like them.
Someone else does.
All right. Okay.
It's a small group you guys have.
Yeah, it's an army of two. A game made by EA 15 years ago.
Is it?
Yeah, it is, actually.
So that's it. I mean, if you've been looking for them, maybe, or there's some from last year. Is that how that works? Or they had shipments before all this came out.
It's a little rough, isn't it? Yeah. Well, so if you see a Peep, they're last year's Peep.
It's kind of like the other thing that went down for a while, the conversation hearts, remember?
Oh, yes.
The main company who made conversation hearts around Valentine's Day, they had closed down for like a few years or a year or something.
Yeah.
And then, other companies make conversation hearts. Just like this, do other companies make little fluffy bird things?
I'll tell you right now that I consider these Peeps to be roughly the same level of good as those conversation hearts.
I know, they're all on the same level, aren't they?
In truth, I'd take a conversation heart over a Peep.
You would?
I would.
I don't know. Maybe I would take the Peep.
Okay, just as a side note, while we're on Easter candy, so I was in the store the other day fighting the crowds, and I was like, somebody deserves a num-num for all this effort. So I was at checkout, and they had Russell Stover eggs.
Easter eggs?
Yeah. And they had, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I like a box of like multi-candy, whatever, like the chocolate where it's a bunch of different kinds. But my favorite is just the fluffy vanilla, whatever kind. They have an egg that was nothing but that. I got one.
Was it good? You mean you didn't wait till Easter to eat it?
No. I got out to the car and I opened it like an addict, feeding for a hit.
You're like, I need something right now, and you're it.
It was delicious.
I'll have to look for that next time.
Woo, I had a cup of coffee and that, and I was just like, man, you know what? I felt like my grandma eating cake and drinking coffee. Just like,
so again, the factory won't open until the 7th. So they said that, Easter's on the 12th. So there's not enough way for that to then make it out there. So they won't be probably making any more. If you like their other items, Mike and Ike, hot tamales, and peanut chews, they say that you're supposed to stock up on those because you'll eventually see those take a time off. Yeah, like a hiatus before those return.
Yeah, listen, I'm not making a run on Mike and Ike's either. I'll eat a Mike and Ike.
I think we don't like anything from this company.
I
think that's a safe thing to say.
I have a friend of mine who drives commercially, and he says when he gets really tired, he'll eat hot tamales.
Oh, is that so? What do those look like?
They look like Mike and Ike's, but they're red.
The red ones.
Yeah.
If it's louder than it has to be and way worse than it has any right to be, it must be the worst of the riot on Radio U.
We were talking Peeps, and a lot of Peeps had something to say about Peeps.
Basically, the company that makes them, they're out of Pennsylvania. They were saying they shut down.
They
and
did.
They're still paying employees, but they're cleaning everything out and stuff. But they won't reopen until, what was it, a few days before Easter? And Peeps are known for Easter, so you really won't get those much this year.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm okay with it.
But other people were saying if you have them stale, they're not as bad. So Jim was texting in that stale ones are better than actual fresh ones.
He did say that. Neil says that you should try Peeps as the center on a campfire s'more. Mm-hmm. That he really likes that. You know what? We tried that.
Well, Chris made them for us in the oven that way, and they were fun.
They were better.
Because then you can watch it just melt.
But they weren't quite. I would actually just take a straight marshmallow in a s'more over that.
Well, I wonder if it's better over like an actual campfire. We obviously couldn't have that here, so we were just using the oven. But
that's why I hate it here. They won't let us build fires in here.
They just never let us have anything nice.
We're never allowed to do anything fun.
I mean, we are making s'mores with Peeps and other.
Yeah, but not on a fire.
But it was in the oven.
It's not good enough, Nikki. We don't get that smoke. We needed some liquid smoke.
Oh, that would just be so gross. So a few people texted that that's a good way to have them, too.
Jeff said that personally I buy Peeps for jousting with two toothpicks in the microwave. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
You take two Peeps and you give them each a toothpick, and then you microwave them. And as they microwave, they grow. Oh,
and which one pushes the other one wins?
Yeah.
Well, that's some free time we have there.
Look around.
We do all have free time. Oh, yeah, you're right. You know,
when you're locked inside, after a while, you're like, you know what? Jousting with Peeps sounds like a pretty good idea.
Hey, that started before all this.
It's true.
But you can now use the time to do things like that.
Okay, Aaron said melting them on graham crackers is good. He's right. Let's see. Dr. Doug says, I agree that Peeps are nasty. If you took the two E's out of Peeps and inserted two O's, that's what you would get. Now, Dr. Doug, I believe that is actually a stronger response than even I feel like. I would eat Peeps over, well, you know.
That.
Yeah, just to be clear.
Well, either way, I don't think any of us are crushed that it doesn't look like you'll get fresh ones this season. You might still see them out there, but I don't know when and where those came from.
Well, you know what this discussion has made me realize is that we are in the Easter season. Like, it's happening, and I have not had a Cadbury cream egg the entire time.
It doesn't quite feel like the season when you're not supposed to go out to do anything with the season, so I think we just missed all the candy. Well, you did say you got the egg the other day. Or
yes, that's right.
Yeah, so, I mean, you have had something.
That's what I should have gotten well, you know, I'm sure that I will once again be sent into the store to face the cold, harsh realities, and maybe I'll need an egg.
I'm sure
and I'm sure there'll be a Cadbury egg in there.
Remember, just put your arm out and just swipe, just take it all and put it in the cart. Because we can have stuff like that now because we're all coping in different ways.
My mom said to me on the phone last night, she was like, well, make sure you don't gain too much weight because that's just weight you got to take off.
No! Your mom did?
Yeah, and you know what, though? I was like, you know what, Mom, that's good advice.
I know, we'll deal with it later.
You know what? That's right. Come on.
If not, grab some of the Easter candy after Easter.
A little real talk from Mom on the phone. I can take
it hurts.
You know what? Didn't even hurt. I was like, you know what? She's telling the truth.
Doesn't matter.
We would give the riot flowers to show our appreciation, but Obadiah's probably allergic. What isn't he allergic to? This is the riot Riot on Radio U.
I do it every weekend, or at least I try to. Like, I take Saturday, and it is a day off from just the media in general. I try to just give my brain a day to just...
Yeah, especially with like social media.
Yeah, because what I do is like every single day, and Nikki and I both do this, but later in the day, we start getting stuff together for the riot the next day. And so Sunday afternoon, I spend time getting ready for the riot on Monday. And then I don't have to do that on Friday, but we do the riot on Friday. Mm-hmm. So that's 6 days with our brains well in the craziness. And then I'm like, I try to get one
Wading
day
through and putting all what we think you might out of the craziness appreciate hearing.
Yeah. And normally by the time we hit Friday, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to unplug. No, I just hit that point today.
But we're not there yet.
I know.
We
I
still
get
have
it.
tomorrow's show.
I know. But I'm just telling you, like, I am looking at just the news in general today. Man, it's crazy town out there. It is
what
crazy
if we
town.
find enough for today and tomorrow? That way you don't have to do any more the rest of the day.
It doesn't quite work that way. Like we will.
We can find enough.
We'll need some for tomorrow. But I'm just telling you that if you can, just be careful out there, because there is so much nonsense out there today. And part of it is maybe some of us are just losing it. We're in our house and we're just like, yeah, you know what? Big Cereal is the one that's causing all this.
I think it's a combination. You know, there's only so much that news-wise is going out there because it all has a spin on the coronavirus.
Right.
Obi and I talked about there's a lot of workers, like writers, who are at home now just writing anything and everything.
Anything they can find.
Because they have a lot to fill in, and they're just like, well, here, I'm home, and I will now write about that. And so we don't get a lot of quality pieces or a lot of things that, you know, we don't want to actually pass along to you.
The stuff that's bothering me the most, I think, like when I really step back and look at it, is the politicizing of both it's about the response to the virus. And so there are people that are like, it's Pelosi's fault because she hates people. And then people are like, no, she loves people. Trump hates people. And you're just like, okay, I just can't take it today, guys. I just can't.
He's checked out with that already.
I just can't take us young. I believe in there being room for criticism. I don't believe that you need to blindly follow anybody at the front of the room. I think that there is, at some point, you accept someone's leadership, both their mistakes and their victories, and go, all right, like you made some mistakes, but I'm still with you. I get that. I think that's part of intelligent consent of the governed, but I don't want to hear it anymore.
Hey, take one finger and put it in the other. Put it in underneath your headphones.
I'm just ready for a break.
All right. Well, I think we said this last week, but we're going to need everybody's support on this. We might just be telling you guys some stories and not being true. So, you know how there's normally a lot of fake news of stories of like, I can't believe this happened. It's just ridiculous. We might have to share some of those stories instead of all the political ones.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna have to go with. I saw somebody with how to decorate your toilet.
See, or it's just a very hard to believe story of like this guy did this and this and this, and we find out it's fake, but maybe it's okay.
Maybe it's
like a fable. We can still learn something about
it. News. It's a fable.
Yeah, so we're still sharing stories.
There's still lessons to be learned.
Absolutely, and maybe that'll make the morning a little better.
Nikki, this is how fake news starts.
No,
it's a fable.
It's a fable.
Fable news.
Yeah.
You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, did you look at that blanket that Katie sent us?
Isn't that quite impressive?
She said if we need this for a quarantine couch sitting event.
It's a giant, weighted blanket.
It's a 10 by 10 blanket. That's huge. Now, I'll tell you, I have a couple of 6x8s.
Blankets or weighted ones?
Blankets. Well, because isn't that kind of that standard size that you get of whatever it is that anytime you buy, what are they, like a plush or what are not flannel, but fleece. They're printed. So like there's a design
I feel
on
like
them.
we're playing charades.
You know what? We are playing charades. Aren't we having fun together?
We are.
Isn't this great?
This is a wonderful time.
I just feel like we're in the middle of a Victorian novel. Have everybody over for a good game of charades.
On a walk about the room.
Great. But I have a Mystery Science Theater 3000 fleece.
A throw, yeah.
I have a Darth Vader one like that. That was a gift.
That's a good gift.
Felt right.
Did.
It's comfortable. Whatever. I don't know what happened to it, but I have it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of blankets like that. Okay, but nothing like this. A 10 by 10, and you can get one. You don't have to get a weighted one, but you can
just get a normal one.
Yeah. What are we paying for this blanket? Do you think?
Well, the weighted one must be expensive.
Not weighted. Let's just say it's just a 10 by 10 blanket.
Is it $45?
Oh, you are a sweet kid.
Well, I usually buy my blankets at Costco, and they're pretty cheap.
That's actually true.
I got a nice,
I bought some nice blankets there.
I know. I got an ombre one that's really soft for like $9. They have these Sherpa ones. Everybody has.
I gave a couple of those Sherpa ones as a gift last year, and everyone
loves them.
I was actually afraid they'd be like, "This is crap," and they were like, "This is wonderful.
It's amazing."
Yeah.
So what are they saying for the price?
The original stretch blanket, $150.
Oh, I can't pay that.
10
Not
by
for
10.
a blanket.
You can now.
I don't want to.
I keep hearing from people that are buying the dumbest stuff in quarantine. So, like, here you go.
I feel like that crosses over the dumb amount, though.
Really?
Yeah, maybe up to 100.
10 by 10 blanket. I'm trying to think of what am I doing with that?
I always used to buy, like I have a king size bed. So I would buy the size of blanket for the bed when that was wrong. Because Eric didn't always want my blankets like that I would pick.
Yeah.
So you should really just be buying what size works for like your space.
Man, I got this. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I totally have this. Think about how many times you've made a blanket fort. And you're using multiple blankets, multiple chairs, and all this stuff. And you never really get what you really want. This thing would make the most killer blanket fort you have ever seen.
That's a great idea.
It would be awesome. Oh, dude. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's worth $150 right there.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Normally people just use whatever they have because we're not investing money in this.
And that's why our blanket forts they're like okay, but like they're only for little kids because you only have little blankets.
Imagine if you made a fort at home because, we're home for a while. It feels like a vacation. Like you went into a cabin or an Airbnb.
I'm going to the fort.
Yeah, it feels like you're in a whole new part of the house.
I just got to get in there. Got to get in the fort for a while.
Just got to have my little area.
Let me tell you what. I don't know about the ladies, but every guy was just like, yes, I support this.
So it's 100 and how much?
$49.
100 and that plus shipping. It feels like there's not free shipping.
Doesn't say anything about shipping. Though, in a 10 by 10 blanket, it probably comes in a refrigerator box.
It's a ground ship.
It's big. So, hey, Katie, thanks for sharing.
How to survive the riot. Do the complete opposite of everything they say. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
So, air travel in the United States. It's not what it was, Nikki.
I've seen only videos of people posting like when they're traveling and how empty it is or just how strange it is. But I don't know anybody who's traveled in the last couple of weeks.
I don't either.
Just out of, fear of it.
Nikki, you and I could go to Las...
Don't let it tempt you. And that's the only people that are flying right now.
You and I could go to Las Vegas for $35.
All the casinos are closed. What are you going to do?
That's why they want you to come. Please come and eat in the restaurants that are still kind of open.
Can you go into the restaurants?
I don't know. Can you?
I don't think we should do that one.
Listen, I didn't say we should.
Oh, you just tell me the deals?
I said that we can.
They're trying to get people, which if you had a trip or something you wanted to do in the fall or Christmas time, I actually could see this being a good time to get airfare.
Right.
As long as we don't think this will go that long.
Well, there's a little concern there. I had a friend of mine last night that was like, hey, we should book, let's travel in July. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't know.
It might be too close. I'm not sure.
Can we be healthy in July? Like, is that still a thing? Can we?
I don't know. But they are also supposedly, aren't they waiving fees if you want to reschedule or cancel it?
Probably depends on the airline. We'd have to check. But it's crazy. I mean, flights that, my family that lives in Oregon, normally those flights are like $600.
Mm-hmm.
I can go there now round trip for $200.
You never were able to go round trip.
Never.
You always had to just schedule one way and then try to figure another way back.
It's nuts, dude. And so, I mean, I could book, and that's part of the temptation is I'm showing flights in August for $200.
Sure.
Maybe I should just go ahead and book,
I don't know. You're going to want, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
So, I mean,
Is there even going to be an industry, though, after it?
I don't know.
That's the bigger question.
I actually thought, I was like, okay, what if I buy these tickets and they go bankrupt?
Yeah, that is a question.
Am I just
out of money?
Am I out my money? That's just it? No refund? Just, hey, wasn't it fun, that trip we didn't take?
I feel like airlines are going to really be threatening with not coming back because I think they want probably bailout money and stuff. They want to make it seem as drastic, but for how much airlines were charging us for all those years, don't you think they would have money still stored up and ready, like a savings account?
Now, I think that's a great question. And the thing that I find myself wondering, truly, is we just don't know what kind of a margin they run at. Mm-hmm. Is it just that running an airline is shockingly expensive and they run at we're running at 5% margin. We're literally doing, as much with as little as possible. Or, are they, dumping that money to, just huge salaries kind of a thing? I have no idea.
I'd be very curious with airlines and say even movie theaters because a lot of them close down and then they do is say, oh, fine, we're not going to pay employees or we're not going to pay them the whole thing.
Right.
When really people have been paying so much money into that system. What are they making? I would really like to know those numbers.
Well, that's the kind of question that a lot of us are asking.
And they're not going to say it, though.
With the stimulus package, et cetera, people want to know, okay, we're giving you all this money. What are you doing with it exactly?
Yeah, what have you been doing with it?
What have you been doing with it?
Because I know, at movie theaters, I know the popcorn is nowhere near that price. Well, it's what is all that?
Okay, it's interesting, though. Movie theaters do run it super narrow margins because, the first 3 or 4 weeks that a movie's in theaters, the movie theater itself gets almost no money for that.
They make money off the concessions part.
They are literally surviving on concessions because the longer a movie is in theaters, the more money they make on each ticket. But those first, that big box office weekend, I think they make 3 to 5% on tickets. I mean, it's tiny, the amount of money they make from admission.
Ours is not using their money that they make towards improvements, so I don't know where it's going.
Maybe they're just barely making it.
Same thing with airline stuff, so I don't know.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
One of the best things you can do, and you'll find a link to it there on our website, is our Facebook page. And I have got to say a huge hello to Rachel, who just posted for us how to make bagpipes out of a garbage bag and recorders.
Well, now this is what you need during your time at home, isn't it?
It is straight up. You need 2 recorders, and I don't know what that other thing is. It looks like just a piece of PVC pipe and a trash bag and some tape.
And you can have your own bagpipes?
They made a bagpipe.
Nice.
That's incredible.
That's a DIY.
I've played the bagpipes before, and I think that
this will do.
I mean, it technically does seem to have all the pieces.
It looks. Is there a video where you can hear what it sounds like? Or?
You know what? Sure. Let's take a look here. I didn't put it on our actual. Okay, he's still working on it.
He's still putting it together.
Here we go.
I can feel it. Oh, there we go. Actually, that sounds a lot like it.
I mean, that sounds like. Can we just say that it sounds?
It's awful.
Wouldn't you like to hear this at home?
No, and that's your neighbor.
Wouldn't you like to hear this a lot?
No.
My neighbor, you know what's interesting? My neighbor's from Bhutan.
Yeah.
He immigrated, I think, like 3 or 4 years ago. And I don't know why, but like he must be working from home because now in the afternoon, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he has all his windows open.
I can hear the music.
It's like this, like kind of rock music from Bhutan. It is. To him, I'm sure it's fine. To me, it has an odd sound.
You're just not used to it yet.
I'm not accustomed to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. He and I are both apparently not at home doing that at the same time normally.
Well, you need to make your music time be around that and just start blasting some of yours back so you guys can learn, not in a mean way, not in a fighting neighbor way, but then you could show him some of your music.
I just put a speaker in the window and start playing bagpipes.
If you want to, or I think you should be building your own bagpipe, and then you just go on outside.
He and I should get together and talk about our differences in English, but he doesn't speak English.
He doesn't speak English,
no.
yeah.
So, I mean, he and I wave at each other. But
you don't need to speak English when you have a trash bag.
That's the international language?
That will speak for itself.
Yeah, that's the international language, bro. I feel that.
It's saying something.
Yeah.
Things are never as bad as they seem, except when it comes to the riot. Then, they're worse. They're always worse. It's the Riot on Radio U.
You probably knew it was going to happen, but just hearing it makes your heart hurt just like a little bit, like maybe more than a little bit. And that is that Stranger Things Season 4, the release date for that's been pushed back because they've had to, take a little pause on the.
They had to. It's not like they're just making you wait to play it. Like they actually had to stop filming for a break during this coronavirus time. So that has been on hold, and so obviously the start date would be on hold as well.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is it fine? Aww. Did you see his comment on Black Widow as well?
What? No.
Well, it's an article with what's his name? David
Harbour.
Yeah, David Harbour, who's in Stranger Things, but then he's also in Black Widow, and Black Widow has also been pushed back, and he was talking about how it was a shame, and he said, shocker, wouldn't it be fun if we could just stream it? But that's above his pay grade, so that's not an idea that they're going to be taking from him.
It would be fun, David.
I know. I wonder what numbers.
Maybe you could talk to him about it.
I wonder what numbers, because that's what some theaters have been doing. Not theaters, but some movie studios have been doing with some of their releases. They're going out and they're $20 and you can rent them for 2 days. But that's not an infrastructure that's set up to like show for box offices. And so they're not picking the huge releases for it.
It's true.
Those they're waiting on until the fall or next spring.
Well, you got to think about it like this. Would Disney rather have, I don't know, $1 billion or no dollars?
Well, could they haven't tried it with a big enough release. Could you make enough money by streaming it for $20, or is that just not possible?
I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is this. It's still too easy to pirate that content.
Yeah, that's true.
As soon as that pops up on demand somewhere, you will get someone that will post it in a format that's not whatever, and they'll lose. I think they'll lose a lot of money on that. Again, because think about this. You think in terms of, hey, you guys want to watch Black Widow? Yeah. So I'm going to have 10 people over, and we're going to watch Black Widow. Well, unless we're still, you know what I mean. But normally I would. So let's say you have 10 people over, you watch it. And normally that'd be $15 a piece.
Yeah.
And instead we're paying 20. So, I mean, they're losing like 20 or 80% of their profits.
That is true.
So
they just can't monitor how many people you'd be watching at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And they want all of you to be paying the $20, not just, the one person out of the group is throwing the party.
It would be the difference between them making somewhere between, let's say, like this is way too much, but 50 to 100 million versus $1 billion.
Yeah, but maybe. I'm sure that'll just be how we go in the future. It'll all move towards that probably.
Maybe. You know what? I think that, it's hard to know. It's hard to know where this whole thing goes. But I still think that plenty of industries are waiting for a return to status quo.
Yeah,
and movie
they'll put
theaters
it
and
out.
Hollywood are the same. So
there you go. So Stranger Things, at first he said that it seemed like 4 would air earlier in
next year.
2021, but at this point, he said he believes that will be pushed at a later date.
It's fine.
You're not bothered by it. It's
No,
okay.
it's fine.
Hey, what's today? Today's Thursday. You have the Picard season finale today.
Holy crap, I forgot. Nikki, why do you remember that and I don't?
I don't even watch the show.
I totally forgot.
It's my
You're
job
right.
to be a good friend and to remind you of these things.
Social distance hug.
Hey! So it's not so bad. Did that turn the day around?
No, but that's exciting.
Using advanced technology, we've digitized and transcoded Obadiah and Nikki into a purely digital format. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
See that lots of you, now of course not all of you, but a lot of you have been checking out Call of Duty Warzone. Mm-hmm. They just crossed the 30 million player milestone.
When did that one come out?
2 weeks ago, I think. March. Wait. No. Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago. So the idea there was, remember, that's the free one. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to have any of the other Call of Duty stuff. You can just download Warzone for free. PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
But if you want like the Call of Duty party pack, are you buying that?
Well,
There are some things in there that do cost money.
they definitely have some, we call them cosmetics.
For your outfits, your players' uniform stuff.
I mean, some dress up for your dolly. Mm-hmm. That's really what it is.
Well, it's fine.
It's fine.
But they were hoping that it would be very successful, though, since it was free. They just want some really big download numbers.
Yeah, so 30 million. It's pretty good.
Sounds good.
I mean, I don't know where Apex Legends is these days, but I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people that seem to really like this. One of the things about it that makes it different from regular Call of Duty is it is a battle royale. So similar to, or battle royale, similar to Fortnite and Apex Legends. But the other thing they're saying that is great is that the time to kill is longer. And that means that you get armor and things, so you're harder to kill, which gives people who maybe aren't as good a chance to escape or fight or whatever in a way that's a little bit different.
That helps, because if you're not the best, you don't want to get on there and just constantly be dying there. So you want to play and have some longevity to it.
That's why I just don't play Call of Duty in general. Year on year, it plays similar enough that, man, like I can't jump in there. Like I don't
you can jump into this.
I don't have room for that kind of frustration in my life.
Maybe later.
There are enough frustrating things without me spawning dead.
You have that, and then on the other side is still Animal Crossing. So there's still a lot of options for whatever gameplay you're looking at currently.
Not free, but very relaxed. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the thing that I've seen a resurgence of in some of my friends, they're like, yeah, I just need something really chill that I can enjoy. Stardew Valley.
Really? Is that picking back up again?
See people doing that. And that's available all over the place. It's cheap. And the people I talk to, I don't know if I've ever seen people love a game like they love Stardew Valley.
But have they been into Animal Crossing yet, or is Stardew Valley still filling that void?
Seems to still be filling the void.
Still there?
I'm just throwing that out there that would be a $10 alternative to $60 Animal Crossing if you're not ready or you don't have a Switch.
Is it healthy eating so many snacks, chips, and Oreos every single morning? No, of course not. But they do it for you.
Too many guys got the stomach for this line of work.
That's real love. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Friends, one of the great things about working with Nikki is off air, she says great things. She just says them casually.
Just sort of thinking about it.
She'll just be walking through and say something. And I'm like, we need to say that on the radio.
Well, I'm curious if anybody else feels this way.
I think you nailed it.
Does anybody else feel like, with you have to stay at home, or if you have a shelter in place, like depends on which city and state that you're in. Everybody's, either working from home or you're just not surrounded by people because you have to isolate. It's a very different time.
Yeah.
So no one, at least in my circle of people, have felt very well. And it's not from the virus or allergies or the flu or anything. To me, it feels like a case of jet lag, where you're off your schedule. You just don't feel good.
Come on.
You have this headache that won't go away.
Can I get an amen?
You're eating things you were never eating, and now you're okay with it because you just can't get back to your normal schedule or your normal routine. And I feel like that's where we're all in limbo.
Yes, I completely agree. You nailed it. Jet lag. I feel
out of sorts.
So listless and out of sorts.
Yeah.
That's a great way to say it. I can't I can't figure out what to do, when to do it, and I'm still working.
Yeah, so it's very much being off your schedule, and there's no way to get back onto it.
It's weird. I keep looking around. I'm only seeing like the same 5 people.
I know. Yeah, actually, that's another good point.
Like I don't see any randos, though. Okay. Like, I mean, I did see some people yesterday. They were doing the social distancing thing out in their yard. Mm-hmm. There were like a bunch of them just kind of sitting out. And I was like, I'm on break from work right now. What are you guys?
What are you doing? Some people don't have the same amount of work to do.
I know. I hear it.
I saw my neighbor. He went out because everybody was outside too in our area. And he goes out and he gets mail. And then I just see this spray everywhere. And he was Lysoling his mail.
He's Lysoling his mail.
And I was like, are we supposed to be doing this?
Yeah, I've seen people say that like there is contention as to how long the coronavirus can last on various kinds of surfaces.
Well, I've ordered a lot of Amazon stuff, so I need to remember that as I bring things in my house.
Yeah, it's true.
So if you're feeling out of sorts, you're not the only one. And I don't know if there's an answer to how to fix that, because your life is just not able to go back to how it was at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been hit by a ton of bricks. Like, I don't understand what it is about today, but like I am legit struggling with life today. But you know what? Just hearing the idea of it being jet lag, I'm like, yeah, I feel better now.
It does feel exactly like that. Like you've taken a long trip and you have to get back on your schedule, or like the time change.
Yeah.
It's that same feeling where your body's just really out of sorts.
Would you say it's only chemical?
That works too. And I'm sorry, body. I've been trying to fix you with ice cream, and I know you're unhappy.
I can't, like, I keep going back and forth. Like, I'll have a day where I'm like, all right, I'll go run and exercise and whatever. And the next day I'm like, I don't care. You're not making me. Shut up.
It's a lot of emotions. That's what we're having.
Man, it's crazy, right?
If you missed out on the next Riot moment when it originally aired, you don't know how lucky you are. You're listening to the worst of the Riot podcast.
Dude, I kind of love this. So the big, in the states and municipalities and wherever the heck's where they're, asking you to stay at home kind of stuff, shut down businesses, et cetera, there is a lot of contention about what is an essential and a non-essential business.
There are way more people in our area, especially at certain times of the day, like when I was driving at lunch, because we work at an essential business. It's on the list.
Media.
And I think what's wrong is in our area, we have a lot of medical buildings. And we have
true.
really, really big ones. So when I drove home, I was like, how come the parking lots are still full? But then I remembered, it's all medical stuff. So they are essential.
It's only medical.
Whoa.
Oh.
Now I'll sing that every time I drive past all the places.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But in L.A., they're having the same problem everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody takes a look at the stay-at-home stuff, and they're like, we're essential. We got to stay open. And you know what? I get it. You're a business. You're trying to stay in business. So I'm not mad at you. Other people are, but I don't think I am.
Well, they decided to go one more step next.
I love this.
This is the next step.
Here's what I think is great about this is a lot of people are like, so what are you going to send the police to arrest us? And L.A. is just like, no, we're not going to send the police. We're just going to shut down your water and your electricity.
Well, this was slightly different, though. This is if you are isn't it still a non-essential business, but you're running during essential business only time?
Yes.
So it is still a little different.
I was not clear, but that's the idea, is that if you're non-essential
and you're caught
and you refuse to shut down, they'll just turn off your water and electricity. I love that because that is so... I'm going to say passive aggressive. It's like, you know what? We're not going to make you leave. We're just going to make you so uncomfortable
that you will then leave.
Eventually, you'll just leave.
Well, it's similar to, there are some restaurants who would refuse to close down, and so they were going to take like their liquor license and stuff. So they're just going to go after them.
Not the liquor license? How can we make the Jack Daniel's steak?
I think... Doesn't that sound good? I think that hurts more than if they turn off your water and electricity. You'd be lighting candles still and bringing in bottled water.
I do find myself wondering, like, is that a thing now? Like, are people all liquored up? Where's the the numbers on alcohol sales.
I don't know because, I guess you can't. Again, depends. Like California and stuff, you're not supposed to be able to go in,
right,
and eat or drink there. But they're delivering, but some restaurants are still letting people in, and they're not supposed to.
Well, again, it depends on where you are.
You can carry out.
You can do carry out, which means you can walk in to get your carry out, but you can't stay and eat.
You're not allowed to sit there and eat and drink.
Yeah. All right.
Like even at Costco, you can't sit there and eat and drink. It's very sad. It's not the same anymore,
Yeah.
But you got to follow the rules, and they're now going after you if you are not following the rules. They'll just shut off your water and your electricity.
So, I guess if you're in LA, do what they say. Everywhere else, I don't know.
I do find that funny because then that'll be utilizing more people that they're sending out when they should also be staying home and being safe to get and go after these people that are not following the rules.
You know what, Nikki? There's no way to win.
There's no way to win. That's exactly right.
There's no way to win.
Are people really still listening to the Riot? You don't have work to do or laundry to fold or literally anything else to do? The Riot, Radio U.
Okay, so let's talk about the Xbox Series X. That's the new Xbox that's supposed to,
come out this, is it October, November?
The last thing they said was Thanksgiving. So that's the word. But
Canadian Thanksgiving or American Thanksgiving?
They were not specific.
And
thank you for bringing that up.
One's October, one's November, isn't it?
She ain't lying.
So, I mean, they could play around with that.
So we don't have a lot of the details, but AMD, they are the company that are making the graphics chips for the Xbox. And apparently, they had a big...
We're whispering.
Well,
is this gossip?
It's not gossip, but it's... on the hush, the QT very hush-hush.
What is it?
Okay, so they had somebody break in and steal a huge chunk of what they say is the Xbox Series X GPU source code.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you're like, what? What the heck is... Basically, it's like this proprietary information that's going to power the Xbox's graphics, and it's a big deal because it's competitive. They don't want that kind of stuff out there because it could potentially A, make it easier to pirate games, or B, give PlayStation a one. I don't know, but it's bad. Okay, the person that stole it, this is so crazy. They're like, hey, I hacked in, I got your info, and for $100 million, we can make it all go away.
They're trying to get money out of them.
That's right. Too much. They should have asked for 10.
If they should have gone lower, then maybe they would have actually just tried to keep it quiet.
Exactly.
$100 million. Greedy.
$100 million was too high. And so AMD's just gone public with it. They're like, yeah, somebody stole some source code, but whatever.
And end quote.
And that's it. And so can you imagine how bad it would suck? You're the person that stole it. Your risk is still super high.
Yeah.
If you get caught, you're going to jail.
And
all this kind of stuff.
They'll fine you.
You didn't get a dime out of it. You got nothing.
What do you think they should have gone with, though? $1 million then?
How about $1 million? Even that to me might be
too much.
I don't know. Maybe not.
I'd be like, how's $10,000 sound to you? I'll take it for that.
Like if somebody was offering me $10,000 for a hard drive, I'd be like, you know what? You go right ahead.
Well, you're not them. I mean,
know,
they would pay a little bit more than us.
I know I'm not them, but I'm just telling you that right now, a fat 10,000 sounds pretty good.
Yes, it does.
I mean, it's not 100 million, but we'll manage.
That just seems unreasonable, even in blackmail.
Yeah, I agree. So, but that's where they're at, Nikki.
So they're just letting people know that that's what they're going through right now?
That's exactly right. So and they're working on that, and they just want to let you know, if you know anybody out there that's maybe sitting on it, they're just like,
They don't care.
Don't care. Man, you talk about just really stealing somebody's thunder. Like, I've got a secret and I'll tell everybody. Nah, we'll tell them.
And we're still not paying you.
Dang it.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
How are you watching TV right now? Are you? I thought this was kind of cool. Now, admittedly, we're kind of down the nerdy rabbit hole a little bit on this, but what I do at home is I don't have cable. I've just got an antenna, right? And so for my antenna, I mean, Is it possible to live without a DVR? Because I don't think so.
Well, I mean, it is, if you're going to not have cable or another source of network or broadcast channels, you do kind of need a DVR system.
And so what I've been doing is, I have done this for years, actually, is I just use my computer. I have something for my computer that it plugs into, and it just, it records to my hard drive and all that kind of stuff. Now, the one thing about that is that you pretty much, aside from buying the thing for your computer to make it work, you pretty much have to pay for a service. And what that service does is it usually provides you with things like apps, so it's easy to stream to your phone or other TVs.
It'll give you usually the schedule.
Yes, the guide. The guide is the big one.
That's what they're charging for.
And so right now I use something called HD Home Run, and I pay them $30 a year for that service. I think that's pretty reasonable. The other option that I have looked at before is a company called Plex. And
they have free stuff.
They do. Right. They have all kinds of stuff that they will give you just for free. And I use it. Like, I use it for other kinds of streaming. But you have to pay if you want to use their TV service. And that is, they have a bunch of different options, but their super basic one is $5 a month.
Yeah.
I've used that as well. Well, Plex just went free for 3 months.
Ooh, because they know this is the time to get you.
So they are offering you, and again, I realize this is kind of a super specific use case. Not everybody's going to be up for this, but if you are somebody that gets their TV over the air, which I do.
So you have an antenna.
And you were thinking about having your computer record that for you, Plex is a potential way to do that. And for the next 3 months, it's free.
And that would be a good way to see if that works for you, because then, you don't need to keep like YouTube TV or Sling TV or whatever TV or like your cable TV, because you can have it, you at least have the DVR function.
Yeah, I hate to break it to all cable providers everywhere, including online cable like YouTube TV. It hasn't even occurred to me that I would want to subscribe to that in the middle of this.
Well, yeah.
Like, that isn't, I mean, things haven't gotten that bad yet.
No, but I think some people are willing to watch some shows that are on there.
Yeah.
So, or you had it and you're watching more stuff.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, I have been surprised by how much mileage I have gotten out of just having local over-the-air TV.
It's fine. The only problem usually is if it's sports related, but outside of that, there really isn't any reason.
Right. And I don't know if you guys heard about sports, but...
Well, that is also taking a pause.
Pause for the cause.
Yes.
Literally.
You're listening to a morning show hosted by two people who absolutely despise getting up in the morning.
Will you give me a break one time?
The Riot, Radio U.
Man, so many conversations over distances, right? I was even talking to a group of my college friends last night. We usually get together every 3 to 6 months, as many of us as possible. And we were saying, like, hey, we could all use a little lift. Why don't we have a Zoom meeting on Saturday, and we'll all just hang out and talk on Zoom? And it was like, that sounds like a great idea.
Zoom has been...
they're booming.
It's a big part of, like schooling, if you're out of your classes and stuff, and just business meetings, but then also just, it's not just for business stuff.
Right. And so that's something... I have been getting links from people to join Zoom sessions. I have not initiated one myself.
Haven't started one yet.
So I may have to look into how that's done. I think we have to reach out. I think we have to give ourselves space. There's an adjustment going on here.
You can't ignore all your support system that you had.
Yes.
You guys, you have to figure out a way to make it work to still be around them.
Yeah,
It's just not physically.
It's a strange time. And I've been pretty honest this morning about just I'm just really having a hard time with it. One of the things that I have done over the last couple of days is that I've been putting a strong emphasis on taking time out and spending some time with God. And if you're not doing that, or maybe you've done it in the past, man, it's time to get back to it, right? Because one of the great things about God is that he can take it. I had really nice weather in my neighborhood yesterday. I went to a park, went for a walk, got out in the woods, and took my journaled a little bit. I took some photos. You can see them on Instagram. But I've just been having a hard time, and it was a good time for me to talk to God. Normally I take music with me, but this time I didn't. I was like, you know what? I actually need headspace out here and not more noise. And so I spent some time that way. And you know what? Even though I've done all that, I'm still having a hard time. And I can't promise you that suddenly starting a relationship with Jesus is going to magically whisk away everything. However, I can promise you that God is going to be present with you in your struggles and in your moments. And today, like, man, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to get in the shower. Then I didn't want to put my clothes on. And then I did. I mean, it was just like on and on and on and on. I just don't want to. And at almost every step, just being like, God, please help me. Like, I really need some help today, God. Please help me. And you know what? My feet made their way here, and my lips are still flapping. So I'm making it. And I want you to know that the same God that helped me put my legs in both sides of the pants today can help you do the same thing. If you just ask him, Jesus really does love you. He really does care about you. And I know what it's like to be cynical, and I know what it's like to, just look down your nose at everything and everybody and all that stuff. But I want you to know that you're loved, and that the God who helps me can do the same thing for you if you want it. I'm not trying to push it on you, but God is helping me. I would hate for you to not get that same help. Just say, Jesus, I want that. I want the same kind of help you're giving Obadiah. I want that friendship. Come into my life. Fill me with your spirit. Show me how to make it. And you know what? Jesus is going to show you how to do it. And as you come up on different things during the day, you don't have to just be like, oh, no big deal. If something bothers you, go ahead and take a second and talk to God about it and ask him to help you with it. That's how I'm doing it right now. Because let's be honest, kind of like this Blacklight song from My Epic, we don't have to pretend like everything's super great right now. Maybe it's not. So don't lie to yourself about it. Be honest with God about it and go to someone that can actually help you. And that's him.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
You might be listening to the Riot, but they are listening to you. And I don't mean they, the Riot, because we're not listening.
It doesn't work that way.
It's them.
You mean our listening devices?
It's the man.
What are they listening to?
You at home right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all know that. Our devices are listening to us.
So I actually do love this. There are a lot of businesses that have told employees to unplug their devices while they're doing work from home.
Oh, really?
So that they can't be listened to.
Oh, because you wouldn't have the device if you were at work, and they want to make sure. Oh, that's interesting.
That nobody's eavesdropping on you.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Google Home, and every so often I'll just be talking. I'm not talking to it.
Shh. Don't let the Apple HomePod hear you.
Oh, I didn't want to pay for that one. But it'll start talking like it thinks I was talking to it. And it'd been listening to what we were talking about.
Certainly.
I mean, it's always listening.
Every once in a while. I have a Fire Cube in my basement, and I have a Google Home Mini in my kitchen. And sometimes all of a sudden Alexa will just be like, I can't do that right now.
I know.
And you're just like,
why were you listening to me?
I wasn't talking to you, Alexa.
But they have to be listening at all times in order to...
Yeah. I mean, there's the quote-unquote wake words. And so if it hears the wake word, then...
I think it's always awake.
But you know what? I've talked to... I've got a friend of mine that works in a doctor's office, like a healthcare thing. And she's working from home right now. And she, I was amazed at how they did not provide her with a computer, but they had very specific guidelines. It was like she had to have 2 monitors. She had to have a wired connection.
Yeah.
And on and on and on. Like all these different things that had to be in place for her to work from home. And I was like, wow. You're going to have to invest in technology just to be able to work.
Well, they should provide you with all the stuff, but patient privacy would be a big one, yeah.
Because you're not allowed to transmit that patient information over Wi-Fi. Which is, again, fascinating. I mean, I get it, et cetera, but I would have never thought of that. But of course, it's not my job to think about that, Nikki.
And that's why not everyone in every job can just easily, conveniently work from home.
Right. So that's an example. But I mean, Nikki and I's job is to get heard. So
we welcome it.
Come on.
come on and listen to us, whether you're our Google Home or if it's you guys, the listeners.
Now, I will tell you, if you don't know this, if you have an Amazon Alexa-enabled device or a Google Home, you can actually listen to Radio U through those devices if you're allowed to keep them on.
Well, for the Alexa, you just say, turn on Radio U if you have that all set up.
So you install that, and it's an Alexa skill.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Google, we don't have like a Google, I don't know what they call it. It's not a skill, but you can listen through the TuneIn app, I believe it is. So those are options for you to do that. I can literally go into my basement and say, hey, what's your face? Play Radio U, and it will, which I think is cool.
It won't be spying on you because it'll be too busy playing us.
Yeah, Alexa, tell everybody about how I played video games today.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
We could both be dead, and it would be fine.